You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming. It's 70 miles toward the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Kingsguard, Leandros' Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go. Alright. The Prains were a very well-known family in Yasan, only second in wealth to your own. If Kroon had some kind of plan to get back at this merchant for wronging him, he probably should just drop it and cut his losses. The Prains were a powerful family. You knew many a day where your father would come home and curse having entered any sort of deal or negotiations with them. They weren't the kind of people you wanted to mess with, as they were cutthroat when it came to dealing with coin. Anyway, enough about that. Emil and whatever your name is, get to work. I want every single deck on this ship swabbed by sundown. And Jaws, we'll be having a little chat about you-know-what. Kroon began to stammer off towards his quarters, issuing a silent command with his hand for Jaws to follow. Jake, again, I really am sorry about putting you through all this. Jaws, you don't need to say any more. You were just doing what you could. Besides, I can handle a little hard work. Still. Emil, look after Jake, alright? You can count on me, Captain. I'm not, Jake, there's something that I've been meaning to tell you, but... Jaws, what are you doing over there? I guess right now is not the time. I promise that I'll tell you everything later. Everything? Yes, everything. About the attack on the capital, on your home. What? Jaws, what do you mean by... If you don't get over here right this... I have to go. Jaws, wait! Jaws! You wanted to chase after him, but Emil stopped you by your wrists. We should probably get to work before Kroon yells at us too. But don't worry, I'm sure he'll keep his promise and you'll get to talk. That's just the kind of man Captain Jaws is. You had to admit, you're both scared and curious about what he had meant. It might have been the same fear that stopped you from banging your fists on the door he disappeared through, demanding to see Jaws. You bit your lip and settled down. Emil was right. Jaws was the kind of man who was true to his word. He would tell you when the time was right. You followed Emil around as he grabbed the two of you some mops and began to teach you how to swab the deck. The name alone sounded similar to the chore of scrubbing the floors with soapy water that the servants did back home. The halls of the castle would always become slick as ice, which made them perfect for sliding on, which of course led to quite a few bruises and berating from your father and Leandros. So we're cleaning the deck. What for? Isn't the seawater just gonna wash over it? Well, we're not really cleaning it per se. We're making sure that the ship stays nice and floaty. Otherwise, kerploosh! Excuse me? Well, you can probably feel it, right? The dried up salt on the ship? It's bad for the wood, so we gotta remove it and anything else on the deck. That is to say, if we don't want to sink, we gotta swab the deck. It's not a fun job for sure, but someone has to do it. Well, really, only I have to. Alright, so what do I do? Just mop? Thinking out. Water time. I've seen the servants back home. I've seen some other people do it. I never have myself. Well, you'll need to do a little more than just mop around water. Make sure that when you mop, you press down hard and scrape off the salt. It'll make the wood swell so that the water doesn't drip inside the ship. I'll focus on scrubbing to remove any splinters. Some of these guys, as you notice, don't have any shoes, and when they get a splinter... I see. You're pretty knowledgeable about all this. My pa taught me everything he knew about ships. Can't disappoint him now, can I? He must have been an impressive sailor. Yeah, when we get to port, I'll be sure to write a letter home to him and tell him everything that has happened. Well, let's get to it, shall we? It wasn't long that an hour or so had passed and that you were feeling winded from working. You also had to keep your balance, which was a workout by itself. The Syracusia was a large vessel, so you barely felt the waves except for that stormy night. The night that the Leviathan attacked. You had to admit that you were still a bit frightened, but it likely had moved on to terrorize other ships. The Red Sea was large and not fully charted at all. Why would it have stuck around? You wiped the sweat from your brow and rested on your mop. So, how much longer do we have to do this? Well, we've really only done a little over half of this deck. Hey, don't slack off now. If the crew members see us doing a subpar job, they'll tell Akai and Kroon. Then we'll be getting all cold leftovers for dinner and sleeping on potato sacks instead of hammocks. At this point, I doubt I'll be able to lift anything into my mouth to eat, and I'll be too tired to carry where I lay my head. My arms and legs are burning. Can we take a break? You have to admit that you would have much preferred Leandros' training to this. We really shouldn't. Please, just a short break. Alright, but come this way. He followed Emil as he inconspicuously swabbed over towards the side of the ship and away from the side of the other crewmates. There was enough space between some large barrels of goods that you wouldn't be seen. Man, I didn't think swabbing was going to be this backbreaking. We still have another 2 whole decks to finish before sundown. Ah! Want some? Emil unfolded a piece of cloth that held several pieces of stale bread. Butterless, jamless, dry, hard bread. You weren't exactly sure where you got it from or where you even hid it, but after working so hard, you were hungry enough for anything. Thank you. He struggled to bite a piece off and chewed it roughly. Just don't tell anyone. If Kroon finds out about this, then we'll be manning the crow's nest, and trust me, you don't want to be up there. Cold and windy, and the mast sways along with the ship. It makes you feel like you're gonna fall off. It's terrible. Kroon really is a straight slave driver, isn't he? Yeah, he's no Captain Jaws, that's for sure. So tell me about yourself. Huh? Me? I figure if we're going to be working together, we might as well get to know one another. Oh, A partial truth. Even as friendly as Emil was, you couldn't tell him exactly who you were, let alone your status. Second, Emil. Well, I'm from Havana, and, I like reading. And? My favorite food is... Maybe you can tell me more about your life. Oh, well... To be honest, I've never really been asked that question before. I'm not sure where to start. Well, anywhere, really. How about I go first, then? I was born and raised in a little fishing village right here in the Red Sea. I've been a sailor since before I learned how to walk, and that's not hogwash either. Father made me learn to walk while I was on a boat. What? Yeah, but despite that, I tend to be rather clumsy while on them. I wasn't really able to help Pa much, but I wanted to prove to him that I could be an amazing sailor just like him. So I left home around last year on a boat we had built together. Of course, it wasn't really ready yet, because it started leaking only after the first night on the waves. Then I lost my oar and the sail got ripped up in a storm. Plus, my food was infested with weevils and some other bug I care not to know of. Then when I tried to fish, my line snapped and I lost my favorite hook. Have you thought that maybe sea life isn't meant for you? What? Never! Why do you say that? Because, you know what? Never mind. So, I take it you were stranded in the middle of the Red Sea. Yeah, I was adrift for about 2 days before I spotted a large ship in the distance. It was too far away for them to hear me, and I was getting desperate, so I set the ship on fire. You what? Well, it was traveling along the horizon and didn't really have any way to row quickly to them. And I wagered they wouldn't have seen me, so I had to try any means necessary to get their attention. But your entire ship? Well, it was either that or drown, and I was going to have to abandon ship anyway. Still, that seems really risky. Well, it paid off. After the flame grew big enough and smoke filled the sky, they noticed. I had to jump ship, though. Thankfully, I'm a very good swimmer. As the ship approached, though, I nearly fainted from the sheer sight of it. It was the most magnificent ship I'd ever laid eyes on, the Syracusia. After being brought on board, I was introduced to Captain Jaws, and he knew that I had to join his crew. You should have seen it. Oh, it was a beauty to behold. I have. I was actually traveling aboard it before it was shipwrecked by that beast. So me and Jaws aren't the only survivors. Perhaps there might truly be hope for Carter and Hudson. Friends of yours? They were the 2 crewmates aboard the Syracusia that helped me the most. I pray that they're all right. I hope they are too. I have some loved ones who were aboard and I worry about them. That beast. To be honest, I'm still afraid that it could be around. Almost makes a guy never want to sail again. It nearly made me too afraid to visit the beach. Let's just hope it never returns. Well, enough talking about that. So, now you know pretty much all there is to know about me. Now it's your turn. Oh, right. Thought I'd forget, did you? Maybe just a little. Well, how about you start with how you know Captain Jaws? Huh? You can't feign ignorance about that. He was acting real friendly with you. What? He isn't friendly with you? Second now. Well, I won't deny that I tend to get into trouble with the captain. He yells at me more times than I can count. Of course, he's really kind, though. I can almost look up to him like a father. But with you, well, I almost mistook you for his own son with the way he was treating you. No, we're nothing like that. Well, then tell me. We met on the shores of his home island, the island we left just a few hours ago. Jaws found me on the beach, and during that time he became someone I could trust. He acts as though he owes me his life to me, but I'd say it's my life that I owe to him. Sounds like the captain, all right. Always been one to put his crew before himself, which is why I'm sure he'll be safe aboard here. Especially with that attack and all that. Attack? Are you talking about the attack on Havana? Do you know something? Huh? Huh? Who's over there? It better not be you, boy, slacking off again. Crap, move, move! That was a close one. Try to keep it down, will you? We'll be in heaps of trouble if they find us slacking off. Sorry, please, tell me what you know about the attack on Havana. Huh? I don't know anything more about the attack on Havana than you likely do. But you were just... I think you might have reeled your line in too soon. Yeah, I mentioned an attack, but was talking about the one coming up soon. Oh, sorry. I need to apologize. So you really don't know anything? I mean, all I know is that all of a sudden there was screaming and shouting coming from the city. It woke me up from a bad hangover from all the booze I had the night before. Then this attack, what is it? Emil looked around skeptically, then moved in real close and brought his voice down as though the very ship had ears. Okay, so it might just be my imagination since the sailors and captain won't tell me anything. But I think they're all preparing for something big. Big? Down below the deck, they've started stockpiling weapons along with a lot of ammo for the cannons. More than I've ever seen before on just a merchant ship. Isn't that just to defend the ship? Yeah, but you haven't seen how much they got. Boxes upon crates, all ready as though they plan to go to war or something. I wonder, could that be what Jaws was talking about? You know something? When I was being introduced to Kroon, he let something slip that Jaws quickly tried to hush him up about. About what? Something about needing help for I'm not really sure. I thought he might have said something about an upcoming battle? That's probably it. But if that's the case, where's this battle taking place and when? We're probably going after Marvin Duprain. Kroon has been going on and on about that man. Every time his name is brought up, his blood starts boiling and you can almost see smoke billowing out of his ears. He's probably planning on launching an attack on him. That's a dangerous thing to do. The Prains aren't well known for their compassion. They tend to travel with their money, unwilling to trust it to even the most secure of bank vaults. Because of that, they're usually well armed, hiring top-coin mercenaries and fitting them with some of the best-made armor. If Kroon thinks his dinky ship and his ragged crew is enough, they'll be slaughtered. I guess that's why he has Jaws, then. Jaws? I've really only heard stories among the crew, but Jaws apparently used to be one of the most feared men sailing on the seas. They say he's a monster, killed hundreds, and sunk as many ships just by himself. Even the crew is too afraid to whisper when he's around. But Jaws is one of the kindest beastmen I know. There's no way he could be a monster. I want to get back to work now. I'm sure they've probably noticed us missing at this point. Alright. You picked back up your mop and started working again before you were spotted slacking off. The thought of an attack occurring on the ship you were on was now beginning to gnaw at the forefront of your mind. You wanted to trust in Jaws and believe in him, but the fact that he tried to hide this from you was worrisome. After finally finishing up on your duties and eating a bland, unfulfilling dinner, you had hoped to sneak away and find either Jaws or Leandros. Unfortunately, Akai was quick to find you sneaking about and steered you towards the sleeping quarters. 2 or 3 dozen hammocks were all set up in one room, barely enough to accommodate every single crew member, though likely they took shifts. They also appeared to be quite small, too, as you spied a snoring man whose arms and legs hung off the side. You will sleep here. The orca pointed right below the sailor where a hammock was situated. While small in size, it looked big enough to fit you, but your bigger concern was the color of the fabric bed and the stains. It's probably best not to think about it. Where's Leandros? You will not be seeing him. Is he at least doing okay? That is none of your concern. Now rest, or I'll have you swabbing the decks again. Least you can do is tell me if he's okay. I've not seen him since we boarded. I said rest, or you'll wind up like him. Him? What are you talking about? He better not be hurt. And what if he is? You gonna go to his rescue? A puny human like yourself? Know your place. Not till I know he's safe. The Kai glared at you with eyes full of disdain. He took several steps toward you and took equal strides back. Humans act tough. Always think you're in charge. But your bodies are frail. Your bones break like burnt twigs. How is it that the world is run by such weak creatures, while the more powerful race is tossed to the side like mere servants? Animals of such raw power and tenacity tamed and used by humans as weapons just because you hairless monkeys are incapable of defending yourselves. Alright, I'm going to pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for all you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you for going a bit above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you to our gold tier patron, Tresem Guy. You're awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to our ultimate tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our not safe for work content as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!